Today, we're going to be talking to the producer of Are You Garbage, Toby McMullen. He's also a stand-up comedian and has probably touched a whole bunch of podcasts that you're a huge fan of. You know, a lot of people are familiar with the podcast producers and people behind the scenes of their favorite podcasts, and they're like, I want to do that. And that's the point of this series, is to show you how these people got to the positions that there are. Now's a good time to remind you to comment, like, subscribe. It all helps the algorithm. And before we get too much deeper, I would like to thank the executive producer of this episode, the one and only Mr. Christopher Hart. Without Christopher's help, I'd probably be posing as a plumber and just figure out different projects and then like just lowball the bids on everything and be like, yeah, I can take care of your plumbing, no problem. Like this is what I do. Now, granted, this would be for existing houses that were probably built in the 80s, 70s, 60s, older builds. And something is now wrong with the plumbing, which is something that regularly happens. And instead of actually fixing the problem, I would just go and steal any type of copper piping that they have. Just bring that, smelt it all down into, what do they call it, ingots? I'd be melting down copper ingots and then selling it for face value. And, because of Christopher Hart, I don't have to be a deceptive plumber. So thank you for that, Christopher. And if you'd like to become a Big Baller supporter of the show, you can go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Welcome to Catching You Up with Nadav. We have a fun time over here. We just try and talk about everything podcast adjacent, and honestly, sometimes just stuff that I like, which is why a Teddy Roosevelt episode is probably going to be coming up in the near future. But without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest, Toby McMullen. Toby, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Dude, thank you for coming.
Hell yeah, this place is unbelievable.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, hey, man, your set looks incredible. And it's like, I'm recording this out of Soundshed Studios. If you're in the Austin area trying to record a podcast, you could do that here.
Yeah, dude.
SoundshedAV.com, book an appointment consultation. But yeah, dude, like these guys are the guys that built Rogan Studios, YMH Studios. Like this is a top of the line place.
Yeah, our place is sick, and this place is fucking sick. It's the cable management alone really is boner inspiring. I mean, I got stuff running all over everywhere.
Dude, I've jerked off every single corner of this room. Wait, hold on. Are we a minute in? Fuck.
Oh shit. I mean, this is having. We're putting two of the most obnoxious laughs in one room.
Yeah.
So thankfully it's sound treated the way it is because
yeah.
we might rip a hole in space time.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, like back in the day, like back when I first built like my first YMH studio, or actually not even before that, I was setting up camera setups at Tom and Christina's like guest house or like their office or something, like in their room, and it's just like a fucking 8x8 room. Where it's like, all right, let's fit 3 cameras in here, some lights, like, and also rig it all to like one power strip. So they just have to press one button and then do everything. And then fucking taking that to a point where it's, oh, I'm cutting a rat hole. And now like, that's how I'm dealing with cable management.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, the umbrella I put on this fucking Toda is, there's a hole burnt in it. So that could have been bad.
Yeah, it's crazy when you go from like the $30 Amazon kit lights that are just basically like a lamp to like real actual shit.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a whole grid system on the ceiling, on tracks, and fucking what are these called, Matt? Scissor switches, scissor lifts, pantographs. Oh, that's a lot more demonic than I thought.
Yeah, dude. If you need to get a pod in or get a seance going, come on down to the shed, brother.
All right. We've jerked off Soundshed Studios enough. I want to jerk you off, Toby.
Oh, that's why I'm here.
So, Toby, real quick, before we get into everything, any plugs you want to put out there?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram at toby.mcmullen. Listen to Are You Garbage everywhere you consume podcasts. We've had some of your favorite comics and personalities. I guarantee it. You'll have a great time. Get on over there and come see us at a live show. We have a tour coming up in the fall. We're going Route 66, Chicago to LA, stopping everywhere in between. Unbelievable shows we have. We're putting out there. Grab a ticket. Come see the gang. AreYouGarbage.com.
I met you at Skankfest last year, and I was like, oh, no shit. You're fucking doing all this stuff. And the type of the type of endurance that you need to have to be a stand-up comic. You were talking about what the last 2 weeks were like for you. You're like, I haven't been home in like the better part of a month, living out of a suitcase, fucking doing shows every night. And now we're here at Skankfest. I'm like, Skankfest is your like, dude, this is gonna be the most wasting, not like time wasting, but like energy sucking, like 4 days of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And this is how you're ending it.
And it was the most fun ever.
Yeah, you were super fucking fun and excited.
Yeah, it was great. I was also I did a full-blown psychedelic bender. I've never been to a place with so many mushrooms in my entire life.
Yeah, you gave me some.
Sure.
They were great.
Yeah, dude. Everybody just kept handing me in all different beautiful packagings. And yeah, Skankfest is like the most fun ever.
Are you going again this year?
I don't think so. We're going to be on the road, I believe.
Ah, bummer. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you on the next one then.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Skankfest. Unbelievable time.
So let's so right now, you're a stand-up comedian, you're a producer of a podcast that's super fun and fucking looks great, sounds great. Everything about it conceptually is wonderful.
Thank you.
As everyone knows, you don't just wake up one day and that gets handed to you.
Correct.
There's years of preparation for that kind of opportunity to be able to take it on. So what I'd like to ask you is, what was step one of you realizing, A, that you want to do this? Like, when did you realize, oh, maybe this is something I could get into?
I can tell you exactly. It was in 2016 or 17. I've been doing stand-up for like 6 years, as well as doing like a bunch of, I was started in Chicago. So that's where I started doing comedy. And I did all of the Chicago comedy stuff, the Second City, IO, and then found stand-up and was like, oh, this is my shit.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, so you're like heavily riddled with a comedy background.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so I was doing stand-up and I was making videos just on my phone. I had made some, I did a lot of like filming like my friends skateboarding and stuff in high school and made like some whatever videos in iMovie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just making videos on my phone and my...
Hold on, just watch on tapping the table.
Oh, yeah.
It's all fucking...
Oh, yeah, my bad.
All good.
You would think I would know better. Yeah, so my girlfriend at the time, Samantha Berkman, unbelievable stand-up comedian, one of the best human beings of all time, gave me the greatest gift anyone has ever given me for our first Christmas as a couple. She got me a real professional video camera.
Whoa.
So it was...
Remember what it was?
Of course, I still have it, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, bro. Thing changed my life. Yeah. It was a Panasonic HVX 200, which is a camera that's very popular in skateboarding. But so it was a little older. It shot like 720 and like 1080 and stuff, but it had all manual controls.
Okay.
So that's where I had done a lot of photography and stuff in high school, so I knew how cameras worked a little bit. But I was like, man, I wish I could make videos, but I don't have a camera. I'm broke. I was just destitute, dude. I was a dog walker in Chicago, doing open mics, just as poor as you could be.
When's it gonna be my time? Yeah,
totally. So using that camera, I just started filming my buddies and making skate videos again, and just learning how to edit. And teaching myself through like YouTube and stuff like that. And then as I started making more and more videos, I was in a place with comedy where I wasn't progressing how I wanted to. I was like, well, I want to get on the road. I want to start opening for people. But why would anyone take me?
This was in the same year that you got this camera?
Yeah, within about a year span.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I provide no value. Like, I'm just another white dude. Everyone's funny. Why would anyone pick me over anyone else?
What a great way to think. What a great way to think.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So I started, I went on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a broken Panasonic GH3 and a bunch of manual lenses. And I started making promo videos for shows in Chicago and clubs in Chicago. And shout out to Brian Morton, one of the best dudes ever. Changed my life. I love this guy. He does a lot of stuff in comedy. He's great. He was managing Zanies, which is a comedy club in Chicago. And
I've heard good things about Zanies.
Zanies is awesome. And he had seen the video stuff I was doing, and he had just started general managing there and brought me in and was like, hey, I want you to make videos for the comics who are coming in on the weekends. And we sat in his office with a calendar of the entire year, and I handpicked who I was going to come in and shoot for, right? So I was like, this person's social media is popping. They have and this was right as Andrew Schultz was starting to do the clips and really getting that pushing.
Interesting.
So
you saw that as you were like, oh, I see what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. But he was kind of the only guy doing it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that's the way to do it. I'll go, I'll film the shows, I'll clip up their sets, and then I'll open and I'll get fucking good ass stage time. Like, this is the move. So I went through and I handpicked like the people I wanted to come in. They would come in. So when they came in for the weekends, they get it on Thursday, and some would say till Saturday or Sunday, right?
Right.
So on Thursday, I would ride my bike. I spent fucking 5 years of my life riding a bike in Chicago through the fucking snow, and every 365 days of bicycling through snow, sleet, hail, rain, whatever. Camera bag on my back with all my shit, just going from like filming shows to going to open mics to doing, spots at clubs when I would get them and shit like that, right?
Oh my God.
So
what gumption.
So I sat and I looked and I was like, this is all great. And then Schultz was coming to do Talia Hall, big theater on the south side of Chicago. It's sick.
Uh-huh.
And he decided to do a pop-up show at Zany's. And Morton hits me up and is like, yo, Schultz is coming. Let's go. And my whole model was I would come in on Thursday. I would shoot just like a hype reel, like a promo that you would see for like a bar and grill now. Like,
okay.
It's all, but it was before everyone knew all the tricks of like gimbal shots and,
right.
And just
zooming in, zooming out. Like,
yeah. Shot of a crowd laughing over generic fucking royalty-free music. You know what I mean? But I would shoot that Thursday night, and then I would go home and I would edit it that night.
Okay.
So I would just stay up until like 3-4 in the morning.
Fast turnarounds.
And then
people like that.
It's tricks like that impress people.
Yeah. This guy works fast, and also his V1 is fucking incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I would ship them the clip, and then they would post that on their social media, and then that would promote their shows for the rest of the weekend. And then I would make that connection and be like, oh, I also do stand-up, blah, 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 whatever. So Schultz was coming to town, does a pop-up at Zany's. I come through, I shoot. I was so hyped. I was like, fucking, this is my shot. I'm going to fucking dunk on this video. Yeah. I'm going to every single dance move and trick I have in the bag, I'm throwing on this thing.
Fuck yeah.
And here comes Schultz, followed by Alex Media, fucking the guy who kind of made the roadmap for the stuff that I do now. Mm-hmm. And then who walks in behind them? Mark fucking Gagnon, the hotter, younger version of me. Same fucking haircut, smarter, handsomer, fit, wears Nikes, like everything these guys want. They had just met him 2 weeks before and started bringing him on the road. And he's doing exactly the thing that I wanted to do.
So fucking close.
Yeah, but shout out to Mark Gagnon. Brilliant guy.
Shouts out to Mark Gagnon.
So whatever. I go crazy on this video. I make send it to Schultz next morning. He's like, that's sick. We got the Talia Hall show tonight. Let's run this back again. Uh-huh. So same shit. Talia Hall, film the thing, After Effects, comping in fucking titles and shit. Just try to make it as cool as I can.
You were in After Effects doing this stuff?
Just for a few easy tricks of so it's like 2017, so people didn't know all the tricks yet.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have a shot that like pans up and then you track in some fucking titles that stick and don't move, or even if they move a little bit, they probably won't notice. It blow people's fucking minds.
No, yeah, the whole tracking thing in After Effects was just like, damn, this is really fucking taking this shit to the next.
Yeah, and and people are like, man, how'd you learn this? Like, I watched a fucking Peter McKinnon video.
Exactly. What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, it's just a YouTube video. Type in your question into YouTube. You'll learn how to do that in whatever software you want.
Yeah. So then I started doing clips for Schultz. So I was doing like subtitling and reformatting for IG or whatever.
Sick.
And that changed my whole trajectory because once I had the nod from Schultz, I could say that I'd work with him and that he used the stuff that I had made for him. Mm-hmm. That was like a green light for everybody else because that's right as people started to wake up and realize that this was the path. The path was independence and doing their own thing.
Hell yeah.
So then I just started doing clips for fucking everybody. I was doing clips for Mike Cannon. Shout out to Mike Cannon. He fucking during the pandemic, that motherfucker kept me in grocery money. I love that dude for life. Mike Cannon. I think I did some stuff. Sam Morril, Jessica Curson, Bobby Kelly, just a bunch of people. I started were doing stuff remotely for them. Or when they would come to town, I'd come and do their promo videos.
Okay.
And then the whole time still doing stand up. And then in 2020, I was thinking I kept on losing jobs, right? I would get these opportunities, and because I wasn't in New York, my whole thing was like, I'll move to New York when someone gives me enough money to move to fucking New York.
Sure. Right. One of the most expensive places in the world to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just kept losing jobs to. Have you heard of this gentleman, Mike Lavin, the homeless pimp?
I've heard of him, yes.
Yes. So for like a two-year period, he kept on doing everything I wanted to do, and it was inspiring and gave me drive of like, man, this dude's killing it, and he has the opportunity is there for him because he's in New York.
Right.
So I have to get to New York. So in the beginning of 2020, my girlfriend at the time, Samantha Berkman, great, brilliant comedian, was unfortunately I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we moved back to her parents' place in Connecticut. She had a bunch of surgeries, and we were there for the duration of 2020. And then that's when I was still doing clips for people and trying to figure out my next move. And I saw a clip of Are You Garbage on Instagram. And I had met Kevin and Foley. Yeah. Kevin and Hank. So I feel like I should present them in a professional way. I had met Kevin Ryan and Henry Foley at an open mic in Philadelphia in 2009. So
holy shit.
Yeah, I was you know those guys, what are the canvassers, like the word merchants who stand on the sidewalk with the clipboards and try to get your credit card information?
Sure.
Yeah, so I was working for one of those companies.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was the worst job of all time.
Oh, dude, definitely. I did some telemarketing in college. It's soul sucking.
Oh, dude, it's the biggest scam ever.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a not-for-profit, but the charity you're representing isn't, but the company that I'm working for is fully for profit and a bunch of scumbags.
Yeah.
So they had they had issues with their office. So they had to send their staff out to different cities. So I got sent to Philadelphia. So I was like, oh, I'll just take this opportunity to like do some comedy in Philadelphia. And I met Foley and Kevin. Well, on that trip, there was a show they ran called the Raven Lounge, which is like a lot of people started there in Philly. It's kind of a storied room there. Like a lot of people came out of there that are fucking killing it right now.
Okay.
So we stayed in touch through social media or whatever. When I would go out from Chicago, go to New York from Chicago, I would bump into them and shit like that.
Okay.
So we just kind of stayed in touch lightly. And I saw a clip of Are You Garbage? They were with a network at the time. And I just hit up Foley and I was like, yo, this concept is sick. I'm in Connecticut. I'm right outside the city. I know you're with this network, but if you ever want to shoot anything outside of them, let me know. I'm down. Like, this is a great job. This is great.
Hell yeah.
And right around then, they were thinking about leaving that network. So they hit me up and they were like, hey, we need a guy. You want to be the guy? And I was like, I'd love to be the guy.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah. Yes.
It's, so many people are just like, oh, like this opportunity fell in your lap. Like there's so many people think that that's how it happens. Like, oh, there's some sort of like nepotistic type of shit. It's like, nah, it was literally just like a cold email or a cold DM or just reached out. Like you saw the job that you wanted to do and you're like, hey, just letting you know, I want to do this job. Boom.
Yeah.
It gets handed.
That was after like 6 years of like pure hell.
Being dragged through shit with your mouth open.
Yeah. So then for the rest of that year, I was commuting from Connecticut to New York. So I would take the train in.
I'm geographically stupid. How long of a commute is that?
It's like an hour.
Oh, okay. Not closer than I thought. All right.
Yeah, it was easy. It was easy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I jump on the train into the city. The boys got a little space, tiny little spot we were doing it in, and just started putting it together. And then it started to grow, and then unfortunately my Sam passed away.
Fuck.
Which is like not the coolest. Sorry to bring the vibe down.
No, that's part of the like life, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you. But luckily the show had grown to the point where we were now making enough where I could afford to live in New York.
Okay.
So then I moved from Connecticut into New York, where I live now in Astoria in Queens. I'm
Hell
tapping
yeah.
again.
It's all right.
And it's just been all systems go, just nonstop since then.
God damn. Yeah, because I've noticed too that ever since you joined that crew, like that the production value of everything has just gone up. Like, where did you learn these skills? Like putting sets together and figuring out, is this all just YouTube skills? Like, how did you learn all this shit?
So it's a lot of different stuff. It's I had my high school experience was very different than the average human. I went to a boarding school in Massachusetts.
Interesting.
It's like a hippie. It's like one of these hippie schools. There's only 100 kids in the whole school, and the whole thing is about like community and fucking. They don't have grades, and like classes are outside when it's nice, and there's no janitorial or maintenance staff. So like the kids mow all the lawns and clean all the buildings, and a lot of the buildings are heated by wood, so you chop a lot of wood and shit like that.
Interesting.
So between that and like my love of like skateboarding and punk rock, of like just do it yourself, the best piece of artistic advice I was ever given was by a woman named Alice Goldfarb, who's the greatest ever. She taught photography at my high school.
Okay.
And we had a sick photography setup, like a full dark room, roll our own film, developed our own film. So I learned how to like do like shoot on film first. And my first day of photography class, I walk in, she hands me this camera. It's called a Holga. It's a medium format plastic Russian piece of shit. It's like a toy. It's like a Fisher Price. If Fisher Price was in Russia and fucking was a bunch of goddamn commies, this is the camera they would make, right? It's so simple.
Okay.
And she just handed it to me and was like, go take some pictures. And I was like, well, how do I? And she was like, go take some pictures, and just sent me off with this camera. And it's such a simple idea of just like pick it up and do it. And that like that's like my whole thing is like just do it. And it's the same thing with like all of the stuff that I grew up watching and loving, like all these skateboarding videos that had and like Jackass, like
right.
things that had a massive CKY, things that had a massive the greatest,
yeah,
that had a massive impact on me and like my taste. Was just guys who just picked the camera up and pointed at their friends.
Right.
So that's like the whole thing for me was like, just start doing it and then figure it out. And I'm not smart enough to create a new problem. Like right. I will never be the first guy to run into an issue. Someone on Reddit, someone on YouTube has fucked this up 3-4 years before me.
Right.
So I will find the answer to the problem. So like, it's just about being obsessive and having a big ego and wanting to prove that you can do it.
But I don't think that's having a big ego. I think that's having a high threshold for improving yourself. Because like if you're
that's a better way to say it.
Yeah. I don't think it's narcissistic. It's like this photo I took, like you knew that the first photo you took was like probably not great.
Yes.
So you're like, why is this so bad? And that was probably like where your photography teacher came in and just like, all right, well, here's things to start taking in mind. Now that I know like the pictures you're taking, here's how you can improve it. Here's the rule of thirds. Here's like this shit. Here's like all these little like terms that you start learning that all just add on to your tool belt.
Without question. And we would also, the plays, the school plays and shit, we would build the sets for and shit like that.
Oh, fuck, dude.
So
this boarding school sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, a couple issues, but I think being sent away at 14 to live in a barn fucked me up a little bit long term. Not gonna lie to you.
Did you come home for the summers?
I did, but it instilled gumption in me. That's what's important. Yeah, so it was just a lot of just being like, oh, I can fucking do that. Like, I'll figure it out.
Hell yeah, dude.
So until we did the first set, I hadn't really built a podcast set before. I'd like shot podcasts in Chicago a little bit.
Right. For the most part, that's just setting up cameras and like, setting up some lights. Like, kind of figuring this out, but not actually transforming an environment.
Yeah, I think the smartest things that I did was also the real story of why I work on the show is at the time I had 2 cameras and Kippy had one camera and they were all the same camera. So it just worked out. We just happened. I had Panasonics. He had a Panasonic.
Happy accident.
So we're like, oh, sick. Yeah, let's do it.
It's like, great. Now you each have a solo and a wide. Beautiful.
Exactly. So we just, and then my computer was too slow for the live switcher
Uh-huh.
for the Blackmagic.
Okay.
So I just shot it like a movie where you just shoot it, shoot everything separate, and then put it all together, and then do all the switching in post.
Oh yeah, that's how I used to work out too. And like so many people, like, and it's like, don't get me wrong, production value is great.
Mhm.
Like high production workflow is wonderful where you're doing live switching and then just kind of doing stuff in post. But people forget that when you start this stuff, literally just press record on some cameras. You could do all this shit in post. You don't need a staff of fucking like 10, 20 people to get something done. This could be a one-person crew.
Oh yeah, it was the three of us for a while.
Yeah.
And then the workflow is just because we do a lot. We do 4 episodes a week, so we do 2 public, 2 Patreon.
Oh, holy shit!
Patreon.com/RUGarbage. Shout out to it.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. So then we grew to the point where we were able to bring on our second producer, Luke Dempsey, new guy Luke, the absolute greatest dude.
That's always the nicest thing when finally you're like, hey, I think it's time to like hire one more person. I'm being spread too thin. They're like, yeah, totally. Like,
yeah.
Oh, thank God. Like,
and all credit to Kevin and Foley. They have had a just an undying willingness to reinvest into the company and into the show, and just they're always trying to push it forward and are never concerned with anytime we've been presented with a thing where it's like we need to upgrade this, we need to try this new thing, it's always met with just pure enthusiasm and just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So the energy and the mindset of the entire crew is just so aligned for just pushing this thing forward.
Hell yeah.
In a way that is like, it's the best, most collaborative environment I've ever been in. It's unbelievable.
Dude, when you're in a place where, and you know, I've always tried to foster this type of environment too. It's like, don't care where the idea is coming from. Best idea in the room wins.
Correct.
So
and that's always how we function. Is we just
beautiful,
because we all are we all are obsessive,
right?
And we are all anxious as fuck. So
and you want the same thing. You
yes.
want this to be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we just an idea gets presented, and then it's 4 crazy people just trying to ruin that idea. Just trying to fucking poke holes in it any way you can and be like, fucking no, that's not. And then, which can be harsh, but it's also, there's no emotion attached. It's just like, just present the idea, and then best idea wins.
Right, exactly. And it's also like, it's a good testing period too, because, you know, there's been times where, you know, ideas get presented to me, and the reason why it gets bounced off me is because like, well, here's what that idea means. That idea means, you know, that's going to create probably 10 more hours worth of work or 20 more hours worth of work a week for someone. I don't have 20 more hours to spare in a week.
100%.
So it's like, so we can either do this idea and hire someone or figure out a simpler version of this idea and still maintain the small crew that we have.
Yes.
And then it's just creative problem solving as a team. And it's like, that's the most fucking fun.
And now we're to the point where between the 4 of us and we brought on a new editor, Travis, who does our Patreon stuff now. Shout out Travis, he's awesome. It's the people I get to work with. It's like fully a dream.
Hold on. So when you first started them,
yes,
was it when you first started with Are You Garbage? It was already 2 episodes a week and then 2 Patreon episodes a week.
Correct.
So you were cutting all of that.
Correct. And then the clips and all that stuff.
And then, oh my God, and the turnarounds on that are fucking wild.
Yeah, quick.
So like every night you're having late nights fucking editing stuff, or at least for at least a chunk of time and stuff.
Yeah. Are you a nocturnal dude?
Only when work's involved. Like if it's not like it's like hanging out socially, I'm like, I'm not trying to stay up till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But if it's like that was the workflow that I had with YMH. So I started off freelance with them, and you know I was taking on other freelance work because it was just one podcast, which was hard to justify them paying me like a full-time wage, and vice versa. It's hard for me to ask for full-time wage.
Totally.
So the deal was no matter what job I got, they just had to know, hey, Mondays I'm leaving early, and just know that that's what's happening. And like I would leave, you know, because they would record on Mondays.
Yeah.
I'd go pick up SD cards, bring it back to my place, and then just edit it until it was done, probably at like somewhere between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Do all exports, do all uploads, and then know that it's ready to go by Tuesday morning. And that shit's just like, yeah, I'm ready to do that for work at any time because you just see the potential, you know?
Without question.
And you're so excited. Like, and not only that, you're working on stuff you'd watch.
Yes.
So as I'm editing, as you're editing, you're probably laughing to yourself like, God damn, that's a fucking good one. Like, this is great fucking bits.
It is. And to the people that I've met through this, I met fucking Tony Hawk, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Dude, so many fucking pinch me moments, dude.
Yes.
I remember we had Bill Burr on. And like, you know, I'm just doing the producer thing for YMH. And we're like, oh, you know, park over here. And then like, oh, you're in the parking lot. Let me like bring you in. I remember like at the end of the episode, Tom comes in. He's like, hey, just so you know, like I just walked Bill to his car. Like he said he really likes you. I'm like, what? Fucking Bill Burr says I'm fucking cool. Like, you fucking mean it, dude? Hold on, I need to go take a shit or something. Like,
fuck yeah, dude.
And there's so many fucking pinch me moments where it's like David Cross is coming in and you're seeing David Cross improvise with Tom like in real time. You're like, oh my God, I'm fucking watching a spinoff of Mr. Show right now. Like this is fucking insane.
Yeah, I've made some people laugh where it's like, oh man, I'm gonna hold on to that for a long time, dude.
Yeah, the first laughs that you get out of people where you're like, oh my God, okay, so this person thinks oh my God, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, dude.
Totally. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so you are now a 4-person team, but then also you're doing side stuff and like helping everyone out, like because there's been a couple projects that you've been also touching and helping.
Yeah,
out, right?
I gloss over this. I also helped not his current studio, but the one before it, Schultz. I did a little help with them putting that together.
Okay,
so that was my first
so many iterations of that studio too.
Yeah, that was my first exposure into a real podcast set build.
Right.
And I learned a lot.
I bet. You learned so many ways to do it, so many ways not to do it.
Correct.
Like fucking soundproofing. How did you figure that out?
Sound treatment.
Okay.
Soundproofing. So if a room is soundproof, it means no
outside sounds could bleed in.
Yes. So like a recordings, like a real recording studio for music. And those rooms are fucked. They're built so they're hollow, right? Underneath the floor, there's there's an air gap in the walls. Right. There's an air gap.
Ceiling is air gap.
Sand,
because that's where sound gets stuck and doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's soundproof, and this is so in the weeds. But so
this is what people like. Welcome to Catching You Up with Nadav, where you'll learn all the inside baseball shit.
So sound treatment is just removing echo or whatever, right?
Right.
So,
like, imagine you're in a concrete room and you're like clap. You're going to hear that clap, the reverb of it for probably like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Over here,
nothing.
Yeah.
This place is good.
It's incredible, dude.
I mean, it's got the Maybach headliner, dude. That's crazy.
SoundshedAV.com. Dude, so many fucking nightmares that I've gone through with soundproofing where it's like, I remember Tom and Christina were first. Before I joined them, I think they had done like 3 or 4 episodes when I first met up with them, like in some weird office building that like they shared a wall with 2 other people. And like every now and then they would hear the other person making phone calls in the room next door. And it's like, cool. All right. So we can't like share walls. And then like, then they moved to their own house and like it was their own recording studio. So it was like, oh, cool, this isn't a problem. And you forget that that's something you need to worry about.
Yes.
Then when they started the YMH network, we're like, well, yeah, let's just get like the space in this industrial park. And then we didn't realize how thin the walls were and that the people next to us were like an electronics repair place that was just constantly shrink wrapping.
Oh, no, dude.
So you're just hearing... And they're Persians. I grew up with Persians. So like I'm going next door. I'm like, excuse me, sir. And like, you guys are like really loud. And they're like, yeah, we're working. And like, I'm hitting up the landlords. I'm like, we're not able to do our job. And they're like, well, you can't ask them to stop their job to do that. And I'm like,
they're a fireworks testing facility. They got to get their shit off.
And then in comes fucking tens of thousands of dollars worth of soundproofing attempts. Cause like we've already built sets that were nailed and screwed into the wall.
Yes.
So you're now soundproofing around that, injecting like foam in between the gap of. It was such a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I got a guy hit me up from Sweetwater.
Don't they always?
They
Hey,
sure
Toby,
do. They sure do.
it's your pal Chris from Sweetwater. Just want to make sure those cables are good.
Yeah, of course. Mogami cables only. Which, my guy, he's on it. All right.
Soundshed, av.com.
And so he was able to point me in the direction of some real quality acoustic panels. And then now I have a guy in New York who will install them for me.
Great.
So that was when we moved to our new space. That's where we made a lot of great connections.
Beautiful.
And so now I have a fair idea of how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, throw some up on the ceiling, get some stuff on the walls. And
just pray to God that whoever called you at the right time and not like, you already started doing stuff. Fuck, we got to now work backwards and start doing some shit. That's the biggest fucking headache.
Yeah. And, but I mean, my first attempts were just like Amazon foam in every single place they could possibly be. And let me tell you, that ain't effective.
Oh yeah. Like the, egg cart.
Oh,
type shit.
Yeah, dude. No, that shit does not work, bro.
It's if you're lucky, it stops some of the reverb, but it's like, yeah, dude, it's not doing it. It looks cool for gamers and shit.
Yeah.
Like it looks neat.
Totally.
But no function.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's no good. So in that regard now, I now believe another thing that got me where I'm at is the whole time I was in Chicago, did a show with my friends called Shithole.
Okay.
And what Shithole was it was started out in a garage in Wicker Park, which is like the hipster neighborhood in Chicago. And it was all formulated around like DIY punk rock shows.
Okay.
But it was all comedy. And then it expanded to where we were doing pop-up shows at different venues all around the city. And every Sunday we would do a show in our attic. We had this big ass attic and we would smash in like 110 people and have this giant long showcase show that was really fun. The whole place was decorated in art from people who had attended the show and stuff. It was just a great vibe. We get shit tons of beers. Everyone had a great time.
Hell yeah.
And from that, I was like, I can put, because we would set up, we did shows on loading docks. We did shows in like every comedy space. But
so punk rock.
Yeah. Like alleys, like anywhere you could point chairs in one direction, we did shows.
So fucking cool.
From that, I was like, I can put a comedy show anywhere and have it rep. Like any space ever. Just for me and my boys figuring that shit out.
Awesome, dude.
And the same thing is now true with the podcast space where it's like I can put a badass room for people to talk at each other.
Right.
In any room you want.
I could get you there.
I can get you there. So I helped Ari put together his new space for his new show, You Be Trippin'.
Right.
Which is an excellent show. Everybody check it out.
Yeah. Super fun show. So what was like, at what point did he contact you? And like, what was your approach to like, did he hit you up when it was an empty room still?
He hit me before he had the room.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. And he was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What would you suggest? And then that's when I kind of changed my mindset. Are you familiar with the producer Kenny Beats?
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah, he had a popular show on YouTube. But he makes beats for a bunch of rappers.
Okay.
And his whole approach to making beats for people is that they come into the studio and he doesn't have anything prepared. He's like, "What's your vibe? What have you been listening to? What are you feeling?" And he makes something from scratch in the moment with them, right?
Okay.
Based on what they're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
As opposed to being like, "Here's a set list of tracks I have. Tell me what you like." We'll
right. Which one of these do you like the best?
Exactly.
Right.
So with Ari, I was like, "What do you need?" And he was like, "To be able to smoke weed."
That was item list number one.
So it's like, okay. So like an office space is out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's things like that. Like, what do you want the vibe to be when people come in? And he's like, as low key as possible. You know, so you start making these adjustments in your plan based on what the individual is trying to accomplish. Because the thing about all this stuff is the changes aren't great. they're not. They're not massive changes in the way that this thing is done. It's some cameras in a room and some microphones and people talking.
Right.
But the small subtle changes have a massive impact.
Yeah.
Especially how competitive it is now, where everyone has a set. Everyone has, but the cameras are so affordable in
Right.
comparison to what they used to be.
Right. The barrier to entry is so small where it's
Yes.
just like, yeah, it's exactly like when people approach me and they're like, what's your pricing for consulting on a podcast? And I'm like, it's not a base rate. I need to know what you want. Like,
Yeah,
do you want someone to build you a podcast studio? Do you want someone to run your podcast? Like, what do you like? Every single person that I've consulted for is like, it's never like, oh, you want the same thing as this person. It's never that. It's
Yeah.
always slight tweaks, which make huge impact on how you decide to approach it.
Exactly, and the look and feeling of the thing you're making.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fucking important. But it's I've lost my train of thought. What are you gonna do?
No. So you were helping Ari put together. He's like, smoke weed.
Yeah, smoke weed, chill
Low
vibe.
key.
And so it was me and then our buddy Ryan D, Mr. Pants.
Mhm.
Great guy.
Uh-huh.
He's a brilliant craftsman. So I know all of the technical stuff. He's incredibly handy. He can install a shelf. I can't do that shit.
Sick.
So I was like, Ryan, come do this with me. And then it was just very collaborative between everyone throwing out ideas. Ari had a baseline of what he had in his head. And then he was very willing to listen to all the input I had on suggesting new cameras and ways he can kind of step his production up.
Right. And it's always nice when you have, because there's so many people that, like, you have a feeling in the very beginning where you're like, this is going to be a difficult road.
Yes.
Like, everything that I'm saying that, like, I've always said to everyone, like, it's being received really weirdly from this person. So it's also just, like, finding someone that you're able to jive with and happy working with. Like, finding that match is, like, just as important as, like, yeah, you could write a crazy fucking check, but you're an insane person.
Yes, dude.
Like, there was one person that I've turned down before where it was like, hey man, I'm doing this huge fucking shit. You're the fucking guy for this. And I'm like, oh, sick, dude. And then, like, just little conversations that we'd have, you'd just start, like, just saying really weird shit, like egotistical stuff. Where I'm like, oh, you kind of sound like a nightmare to work with, my guy.
Yeah.
And then just immediately just shut it down. Like, oh, I'm really busy, dude. I don't think I could help with this. He's like, I didn't even tell you the dates that we're going to be doing this. I'm like, what dates are they?
I'm
like,
busy.
Exactly.
I'm like, crazy. You wouldn't believe how busy I am.
Yeah. And it's just finding people that are open to, like, hearing all this stuff and actually working with you, because it's not, when you're building a podcast, it's not a one-man show. It's not a two-man, like,
No.
It's always a collaboration.
It's super collab, which is that's my favorite shit in life, is like collaboration and ensemble and working together for one goal.
Yeah.
Is like the best, man.
Dude,
when it works.
The highs that you get from something working with your ragtag team, like, dude, I remember one of my favorite shits was, like, always fucking when we did we had just finished a live show for, like, YMH or something, and it went off, like, seemingly without a hitch. Like, the public doesn't know about, like, the fires that maybe were going on behind scenes.
Yes.
But, like, as far as everyone knew publicly, this was a seamless show, perfect show, like, nothing went wrong. The high that I got from that was, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. like, I'm just fucking literally high-fiving myself, like, and everyone around me, and just like, hey, let's fucking go drink, like, fucking half a handle of something.
Yes, dude. Yes. Yes.
It's because for the most part, yes, like because you boil it down so well. All podcasts really are two people in a room talking at each other with microphones and a couple cameras. But there's a million different versions of that.
Oh yeah.
And it's so special when you team up with someone that totally gets it.
Yes.
And isn't just like, no to this. You need to explain, like, why this is happening. Like, no. This isn't a request. This is a conversation. Like, let's talk about what you want, how we get to the finish line together. Because this isn't, you don't run a marathon. Like, I can't make you run a marathon and push you on behind your back. God, what a terrible analogy for me to use. But it's like, this is a collaborative effort. Like, this
Yeah.
is like, we need to be running in tandem. And like, you know, when one of us is tired, we start pulling the other one. And like, everything about podcasting is a team effort.
100%. And I'm very fortunate to be on a team of like the best dudes that are hilarious, grind, dude, work fucking hard and are down for the project.
It's the fucking dream.
Yeah, it's the greatest. And and our crew, we can I can't imagine a project we could not execute at this point. We made Kevin and Foley, we put out stand-up specials for both of them this year.
Fuck yeah.
And that was just the four of us. You know what I mean? That's just me and Luke and the guys doing their sets on our shows.
Dude.
And we did them in a very cool way that I'm very proud of. And I would put them up against anything anybody else is making. I think we fucking killed that shit.
Yeah. And now,
not to be braggadocious, but
no, dude, pat yourself on the fucking back.
Yeah.
Like, and not only that, now you have like another tool in your belt. You could do specials.
Mm-hmm.
And like, now that's kind of just recording in any type of environment. So you now can put on just a normal comedy show in any environment and make it rip.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn any place into a podcast studio and let that rip. And now you could do a record, like in any type of recording space, make that rip. Like, you're just becoming a multifaceted Swiss Army knife of a fucking killer. And that's,
thank you, man.
yeah, dude, so many people think that it's easy, but it's like, how many years? Like from 2017 to now, like, that's fucking 6 years of like every day fucking thinking about
Oh yeah.
this shit.
Oh, obsessive. Just
Yeah.
before you go to bed, think I've been able to take a little bit, like a tiny step back.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't think about it all the time.
You will burn yourself out if you do.
Just
that.
most of the time.
Yeah. Right. You have your weekends back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're touring.
Yeah. It's a fucking dream, man.
Fuck yeah. Dude, is there any like we're doing solid on time. Are there any like trench stories of like times where it's just like, man, we're really on a crunch, or like a problem that you didn't know, like you'd
The entire time. From start to now, from today. What, dude?
Oh fuck, dude! I have so much shit of just like, oh yeah, fucking literally everything's on fire at all times.
Yeah.
You know, people think that a producer is like, oh, this guy gets paid to fucking laugh and then maybe Google some things from time to time. It's like, no. You wake up to fucking fires to put out, and you have to figure out how to like move shit around and like make things work.
Yeah. And we are all crazy and but when big shit pops up, everyone goes into like, it's like what I imagine how people operate during a hostage situation, where it's just like everyone's locked in and it's like, we're gonna fix this and it'll be fine, and just
right.
But but we pride ourselves on the shit's going out. Like, no matter what, we don't miss uploads.
Exactly. We don't miss uploads is my fucking mantra.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if you want to miss uploads, fine, but just so you know,
yeah,
these are the repercussions of it. And like, just explaining it to everyone, just like, we can miss uploads. And then like, I've had clients that are like, yeah, I'm thinking of doing this like monthly. Like, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's consistency. You have to become a part of people's routine.
Right. People need to look forward to not only the day, but the time that you release, where they know fucking Fridays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. They know that they're watching Catching You Up with Nadav, you know?
Yeah.
But make people expect that, like, try and become as close to appointment television. Like, it's one of the things that I think Kill Tony does so well. Where, you know, in my mind, I'm like,
talk about an unstoppable force.
Dude.
Those guys are on, like, the things they're doing are so impressive. It's sick.
Dude, I jerk off at that. Their team over there, Yoni, and that just runs everything.
Another great dude.
Dude, one of my favorite fucking people in the business. The nicest fucking guy, prepared for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And like the type of things that they're pulling off, like they're one of the only shows that I could really think of where they could do a live streaming event, charge a shit ton of money for like a double night type of thing, with letting everyone know these episodes will come out within a couple weeks of this, but you're still paying for the experience. And like, fucking do crazy fucking like numbers with that type of shit.
Yeah.
And it's because it's appointment television. I need to see this live. And the way that they even market it was like, you don't want to be one of those losers that learns about what happened to, like on Reddit before the episode comes out on YouTube, do you? All this shit is so fucking genius. And it's like, it's all just little fucking tweaks, thinking of the mechanics and like the logistics of how things work, the psychology of certain, like there's so much thought that goes into all this shit.
Oh yeah. And Tony and Red Band fucking are the great dudes. And to go from the smallest room of the Comedy Store to Madison Square Garden is like, dude, that's so unbelievably impressive.
Dude, I went to the New Year's show that they did at the HEB Center. And like everyone's like watching everyone's watching the stage. I'm literally just watching everyone in the stage because it's full. It's like fucking sold out. And I'm just looking at that. I'm like, so like when someone bombs, and like I start hearing boot, like the bucket pulls, and I just start hearing a whole entire arena boo. I'm like, this is fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like fucking hive mind type shit of like, this is the size that we're at, and it's insane. It's insane to see that, like you said, something that was in the small room of the Comedy Store, in not even full rooms, to now MSG, the Kia Forum, fucking
a
HEB
true
Center.
juggernaut.
Yeah.
It's
dude,
awesome.
And that's like, that's the most fun thing about this shit too, is that, you know, the podcasts and stuff like that, like late night talk shows used to be like, have the influence that podcasts have now.
100%.
And people now choose to do podcast circuits instead of going on, you know, late night talk shows. Cause late night talk shows, SNL, God bless. I think that they all have their time and place. And, you know, whenever I watch it, like I have a good time watching it. But their goal.
I don't.
Your words, not mine. So, but like their whole goal is to create clips that will do well on YouTube. And like that's where their power is. And if something doesn't do well on YouTube, they'll take it down so that they have just like a track record of bangers. But it's like, yeah, you guys are trying to adapt like a dinosaur workflow into something that like you're a 4-man crew. Like you're able to make changes and like make pivots on like the turn of a dime. That's not how you say that phrase. Like the turn of a hat, the drop of a pin. There you go.
Oh, way off, dude. Not one of those words was right. You went 0 for like 4 on that.
But like you can make such quick changes on things. And all it takes is just a very quick group text like, hey, I'm thinking of like, what do you guys think about XYZ? And immediately that now gets implemented. Like the late night talk shows, it's a fucking crew of 50 people, 100 people, unions are involved, all this fucking thing. There's a writer's strike. Oh, better not fucking do this shit. Oh, there's COVID. Well, everything's Zoom now. And it's like, it was so crazy to me during COVID, which was like the boom, like the huge fucking boom of podcasting, where there was that one article that said podcasts are a necessity and those can continue to operate. And I'm like, yo, they didn't make a distinction between news podcasts and like poop and fart joke podcasts. Like, all right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. We are vital employees.
Yeah.
Essential workers. That's
what a silly notion. It's truly outrageous.
God bless Fauci, dude. So happy to be on that list.
Yeah, it's the greatest. I mean, what I love is that people can just do this on their own. That's like the best part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
But in like a real vindictive kind of way, I like love going against all those big corporations, and even more and even like a more the minutia of it. Like I love all the guys who went to film school and then didn't make anything except for YouTube tutorials of all the stuff they learned in film school, and now I get it for free. It's like the best, dude.
Well, yeah, because it's also like, you know, I think about some people that went to film school, and look, back then that was the move. That was that was the route that you always took. But then like you realize that once you get out of film school, all the tech is upgraded, and everything that you learned 3 years ago kind of has changed over time. Like I think I remember.
Not to mention they don't make fucking movies anymore.
Right. Dude, fucking like I think Zolo, who's a producer at YMH, I hired him as an intern back when he was still going to Cal State University of Northridge. And, you know, one of their senior projects is to like put together a short film. And he was showing me all the things that He was showing me all the things that they have to do. And it's like, there was literally a room in the budget for film exposure. Like letting someone do like movie, like not moviola cuts, but like literally processing film. And I'm like, why are they having you budget for that? Are you guys shooting on film? He's like, no. I'm like, who the fuck is running this department? Like they're teaching stuff that's already outdated. Like what is this? Are like a senior class full of Christopher Nolans that only like shoots on 70 mil? Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
None of this is useful. And like the stuff that is useful is the stuff you learn on your internships, the stuff you learn on the gig.
Mhm.
Like become a PA, become a post-production intern, become the lowest rung on anything that's willing to have you, and then just find people to ask questions. And if you're lucky enough, maybe you even find a mentor. That's like the ultimate cheat code for I think everything, is finding someone that's like, hey, I kind of see myself in you. What? I got room under this wing. You want to come on board and like I'll just fucking teach you everything I know?
Yes.
Always been the most helpful.
Or someone who's doing similar stuff. Like
Right.
for me in Chicago, that was James Webb, who's now gone on to make some of the biggest specials of recent years. Like he's done he went for Sam Morril, he went for Mark Normand. He's killing it.
Yeah.
And he started doing podcasts in his basement. And so he knew audio better than I knew audio. I knew video better than he knew video. So it was just a free knowledge is free, dude.
Fuck yeah.
It's free exchange. I've always, if someone is beating you because their settings are better on their camera, you were never going to win, dude.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, is it in focus? Is it like overexposed? Like that stuff, sure. But like the basic operation of the tool is not what makes good shit.
Right.
Good shit makes good shit.
Exactly. You like the foundation needs to be good. Like, I mean, case in point. And I mean, I'll probably make a full episode on this, but like Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast.
Mhm.
It's one wide shot in a living room where there's an overexposed window in the back. Like, it's the type of stuff where it's like, but it's all killer. Like, it's all fucking like.
But make no mistake out there,
Right.
You are not those guys.
Right.
Those are the funniest dudes.
Right.
Yeah, like but the reason it works is because that's their vibe.
Right. Exactly.
That is the best presentation of what they do.
It's the best delivery system.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the best vehicle? And it's not the same for everyone.
Right. Exactly. Because like the best vehicle for me is like, well, that depends. Am I just trying to go to work? So I'll take a 2002 Toyota or a Honda Civic, whatever. Like I don't give a shit.
Mhm.
But like, are we going off-roading? Do we need a Jeep? Do we need the fucking doors on? Do we need fucking suicide bullshit? Like, you know, it's like the vehicle is so important to like, well, what do you want it to do? What is the destination? And then like, maybe we don't need a semi truck to get, to the grocery store down the street. Maybe we just need a bicycle for a bit.
Yep.
Until we start shopping at Whole Foods that's like 3 miles down the road or like something like that.
Totally. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Is there a piece of gear that you're like, this is that you are like, I love this thing. This thing is like, it could be like a lot of people have the affinity for the fucking H6 because it's what everybody started on. Like, is there anything that you're like, I love this?
I mean, like this all happened on accident. I learned this from Ennie, the technical director at YMH Studios. The cameras that we first started with, like, because, there's the whole Blackmagic workflow that deals with like, the ATEM switcher and like, it'll go from camera to the ATEM switcher, then to a recording deck, and then a backup on OBS, like, so that it's just like everything's double, triple backed up. You're also recording on SD recorders. But the first camera...
and then you have a true redundancy of your audio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, of course, you learn the hard way on, like, shit, I think we need to start having a redundant...
Oh, yeah.
Those are fucking nightmare scenarios.
Ooh.
But...
20 minutes in going, hey, guys.
Dude.
Luckily, that's in the past. That's in the past.
Dude, the first time where we realized we were just like, hey, did we remember to hit record on those cameras out there? Like, I know that we're switching and we have a line cut, but do we remember to record on those like ISO cameras in case we need to use that for something? And then they would just see someone from the booth come out and like hit start on like, wait, did we lose? Like, no, we're fine. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
But like the the now no necessity for needing a red light on top of a camera where now, like, because talent worrying if tech is working is so, like, that shouldn't even be a thing that they're thinking of, you know?
It can't be.
They need to focus on the funny stuff, like
Yeah.
on why people watch the show. But
Yes.
sorry, so to go back on like vital piece of equipment, it was the Handycam, it was the Sony Handycam, I think F45 or something like that.
Mhm.
The way that we got onto it was what first started was it was a Canon G something that was like a vlogger camera.
Yeah, totally.
So
30-minute limit.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I first got
Shout
hired,
out Panasonic. Record a fucking
dude, the first recording that I was in with Tom and Christina, and we noticed that was the thing. Literally, what I had to do was we had the solos on them, and then like I just had to stagger. Like, all right, Tom's in the middle of talking. Let me turn off Christina's camera real quick. Turn it back on. All right, cool, we're good. And then in the middle of Christina talking, let me turn off Tom's camera real quick. Start that back on.
No, dude.
So that was what it was like, and then.
Actually, you know what's funny is
What?
in our first in the first iteration when I joined AYG, Kippy's camera had the same thing. So I was sitting in the booth and there was the shot of the guest and I would just wait until they weren't looking and then I'd fucking
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, and you'd have to do that. And then I remember when we upgraded that, which was like very early on to the process because they realized that was a problem very quickly.
Yes.
Red Band had uploaded just like a
The
video.
the absolute man.
Yeah. Like literally the reason why podcasting is where it is. Like the
Podcasting.
absolute godfather of podcasting. Literally said he posted like he had gotten this Sony Handycam and had just shown like, this is like one of the first 4K Handycams. And, you know, like this is what it looks like compared to iPhone. And Tom saw that. I was like, is this a good camera? Should we get this? And I'm like, I'm a post-production guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a gearhead, but I'm like, yeah, let's get like 3 or 4 of those. And then when Ennie came along, he was like, why did you pick these cameras? And I was like, because Tom kind of saw Red Band's like comparison and, you know, it just kind of worked. He's like, you know, this is literally one of the only cameras that are plug and play with Blackmagic equipment. Like, it's one of the only cameras that could send out a signal.
Universe.
Dude, it was fucking crazy. And I'm just like, this all came from just Red Band, like, filming a flower in his backyard and being like, look how vibrant the colors are on this.
He posted a video when he first got that same camera that was I was on 4K early because just anything to make my shit stand out.
Sure.
And what got me psyched on it was a video that Red Band posted of a shot of it was in the Comedy Store and the video was just him zooming in digitally on the thing and I was like, oh yeah, all this shit exports in 1080. It's like a giant, you can oh wow, you can use this one thing to make like 3 angles. Okay. And that's where that changed the game for me. And that was another big jump for us on the show. We were able to get everything in 4K.
Fuck, dude. And that, let me tell you, we were working on that upgrade. I want to say maybe a year-ish before.
With the live switching, it's
I
fucking
left.
impossible.
Dude, it is so fucking expensive.
It's outrageous.
To upgrade to 4K.
It's outrageous.
Blackmagic. Dude, oh my God. There are so many times where I've heard friends like that are directors of photography. I was about to say DPs, but like I don't know who's watching this. But
Sure.
You know, that are DPs where they had just bought. You remember like red packages when those first came out? Red cameras.
Of course.
They had just bought the red camera package for $70K. Took a business loan out for it.
Oh my God.
And like
it's just the camera. There's no lenses.
Within 2 months of them buying that package, prices dropped down to $10K.
Oh my God.
For the exact same thing. And I see them just pulling their hair out. They're like,
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to this sucks. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you even do? Like, it's
just the way that shit goes.
And it's you just have to be ready to pivot. Fucking don't make any like mistakes that you can't fucking backpedal from. God damn, dude, this is fun. I'm loving this fucking conversation.
I'm having a blast.
So we are starting to wrap up towards the end. I'm trying to be conservative with the people's time here that are allowing us to film here. SoundshedAV.com if you're recording in the Austin area. Let's say there's someone right now who's working a blue-collar job. Maybe they're a lawyer. They work in a supermarket. They're doing something that is not this, but they want to do this.
Yes.
And they're like, Toby, what is step one to becoming like, the top tier podcast producer, just all around multi-hat, multifaceted person in podcasts? Like, what would you say is step one in getting on that journey?
Getting a real estate job and having reasonable goals. No. Getting a real estate license to flip houses, bro. Shit ain't gonna work. No. Just start making stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't. You have to start building your skill set. Make videos. If it's on your iPhone, download CapCut. Who gives a fuck? Use iMovie. If you film a video vertically on iMovie, you can spin it in it and you can edit it vertically. Like just start putting video and audio together and work with what you can. I started out with the broken GH3 and I got I got vintage lenses because that was the best image I could get out of it. And I just slowly upgraded everything. Better microphone. Do freelance. Just do a promo video. Money from that goes back into the thing. That's just the video money. That's not your fucking Taco Bell money. It's your fucking video money, dude. And just slowly, and as your skills progress, your gear will progress because you'll get better. But everything looks good now. Cell phones look good enough. You can make it. Right. You can shoot it with a vibe to emphasize that it was on a cell phone, and that can be a vibe.
Right.
And your mistakes are your style. So when you fuck up, that's not a fuck up, dude. That's your vibe, bro.
Right. Totally, dude. If you do something the wrong way enough times, it stops being a mistake. It stops being a bug and it starts being a feature.
Sure. Unless it's dog shit, in which case cut that shit out.
Right. Yeah. If it's unsalvageable, yeah, sure. Yeah. But I don't want to say I'm bad at Googling, but what I will say is that I'm bad at Googling on the spot with fucking cameras and shit on me, And that's hard to fucking train out of you. And eventually that just kind of became the vibe. It was just like, oh yeah, let's fucking let Nadav Google something very fucking stupidly. And that was just, all right, yeah, let's fucking lean into I'm terrible at Googling. And it's anything that you're self-conscious about, lean into it.
Totally.
That's work with what you have, figure out what you're doing, why you're doing it, and care.
Yeah.
Care on what it is, why it is, how it is. I should have been putting up fingers with all of that.
It has to, you have to love it. You have to and be obsessed with it. And because it's going to suck, dude. It's going to suck. It's just anything in comedy, whether it's being in front of or behind the camera, is just a grind, man. Yeah. It's going to be no money for forever and then maybe some money, hopefully.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
And you gotta love every minute of it because the second you don't, people pick up on it immediately.
Yeah, totally. But it's also you're gonna be dead, man. So what else are you gonna do?
Right. You got one life to live. Do you want to fucking, show up to a job that you hate every single day, or start taking baby steps towards the life that you want?
Totally.
And that's always the best advice. It's if you are currently unhappy with your current situation, change it.
Yes.
Do something that gets you into a thing that makes you happier, because losing sleep sucks.
And if you're in a small town, you got to move.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Go where the work is.
Yep.
I mean, the case in point with you, going from seeing someone literally homeless pip taking all the jobs that you wanted was that's enough proof in the pudding to be I want those jobs.
Yeah, and I love that dude, by the way.
God bless homeless pimp.
Yeah, he's the man. I text him all the time. I'm so happy for what he's doing. His outfits are outrageous, but he's a great guy.
And it's so cool to also just see everyone else progress. From back in the day, I feel like me and George Kimmel kind of started roughly around the same time, and just seeing the paths that each of us took, and then seeing you guys starting when you guys started and being God damn, I remember some of the first shit they put out, and this is so fucking cool to see how this all evolved, how everyone's just becoming a bigger and bigger swinging dick, in every respective department that they touch. And it's fucking rad. It's, this is kind of the first generation of fucking the podcast producer class,
Yeah. And I have had it's been so cool to meet all these people, but it's also been a very tricky thing to navigate with just perception, because people view you in one light. It's hard to get them to switch that up.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it, dude.
Yeah. But it's been so much fun to like especially on the live shows as they've gotten bigger and better and I think the live show that we put on, we bring our boy Tom Cassidy, he comes out and he hosts, and then I go up, I do a set, Kippy goes up and does a set, Foley does a set, and then they close the show together answering questions from the crowd, like in the Are You Garbage style.
Fuck yeah.
And I would put that show up against fucking anything touring right now, man. We fucking have a good time.
Hell
And
yeah.
the response from the crowds now is so unbelievable. And people are so kind and so just like generous in their when they come and talk to you and stuff. It's been amazing.
Dude, the fan interactions are honestly the things that like melt my heart the most. Like,
It's
especially because you assume that your audience is one type of person, right?
yeah.
And then they're like, hey, I'm a neurosurgeon and I listen to your guys' stuff like in the middle of surgery. You're like, wait, hold on. Smart people listen to it? What the fuck are you talking about?
We've been all over we've been everywhere you can go in this country. I've met so many different people, and it's exactly what you're saying. You meet people
Every flavor.
every type of person, and they're all so kind, and like what a gift and an unbelievable opportunity to have people say to you, not only do I consume the thing that you make, I love the thing that you make. And it's had a positive impact on me. Like, how spoiled are you that you get to have someone like, in what job? If you're a fucking mechanic and you fix the thing that conveys a human being to where they collect assets to sustain their existence.
Right.
People are like, oh, thanks, bro. But we make a thing that makes people laugh, and they're like, thank you so much.
Right.
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like hard to put into words how impactful that is.
Yeah. You get like, you get touching messages like either through social media or in person whenever like someone approaches you and you're like, God damn, this is like, I didn't realize we were like doing this much fucking good work. I thought we were just doing like really fun like things that made us laugh. I thought that's all we were doing, but then you realize like that's a very important part of people's lives.
Totally. And I mean, I was an avid podcast consumer for a long time. I can't listen to shit now because I just get in my head. I'm like, what kind of mics are they using? What kind of camera? What's their fucking...
Dude, what a time, dude. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's really cool. Thanks so much for having me.
Dude, thank you for being here. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to plug that people could follow you on as a specific comic and producer and everything that you do in general?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Toby.McMullen, McMullen. And please listen to the Are You Garbage podcast. We have a great time. We've had people that you love on the show. I guarantee it. You'll enjoy it, gang.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Catching You Up with Nadav. I hope you had a really great time and you learned something if this is the type of stuff you like. But most importantly, I'd like to remind you that this is all totally unconfirmed news.